Hello everyone, I'm Will Jordan from Rapid Reviews UK and welcome to the very first episode of Rapid Retro Rewind. Today we're going to be covering Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening, a game developed and published by Capcom in 2005 for the PlayStation 2. Remember that if you like what you see here, to like, share and subscribe, whilst hitting that little bell icon to stay up to date on all of our uploads. According to the official website of the current gen port of the Devil May Cry HD collection, in Devil May Cry 3, you can choose between different close combat styles like Swordmaster and Gunslinger, and it's up to you to decide which style to develop and improve on. This is just one of the many reasons why Devil May Cry 3 is such a masterpiece of action game design, as we are about to find out with this review. As you may have already gathered, the Devil May Cry series is my absolute favourite action franchise in all the realms of video games, with the third entry reigning as the unconquerable king due to its infinitely vast array of positive elements. One such element includes the game's cutscenes, which never fail to entertain due to the engaging performances and perfectly choreographed action sequences that feature at their core. Another is the game's deep combat that features the aforementioned style system, which grants players special style-specific abilities. However, and it greatly pains me to say this, Devil May Cry 3 falls just short of undisputable perfection due to a few negative aspects. For example, the inability to switch between styles on the fly marginally limits a player's repertoire of moves, as it forbids them from combining styles. Additionally, the quality of the enemy design is inconsistent to say the least, with the game offering delicious creativity and unappetizing similarity in equal measure. Regardless, to uncover all the negatives hidden within this glorious title, I was forced to reduce myself to nitpicking. However, dear viewer, fear not, as I endeavour to eviscerate all biasness in this review in favour of fairness. So, without further ado, let's rock, baby. To begin positively, Gurjeeven, one of the game's many bosses, shows his demonic brethren how to marry gameplay and character design. To elaborate, players can jump onto Gurjeeven's carriage, deal the maximum amount of damage while receiving the minimum amount of punishment. This is brilliant, as it provides Gurjeeven with a distinguishing feature while simultaneously informing players of a potential exploit in combat should they be observant enough to take notice. In contrast, many of the game's regular foes act solely as scythe-wielding colour palette swaps. For example, Pride and Sloth both feature very similar designs, all the way from their hooded clothing right down to their weapon of choice. Consequently, players may find it a bit difficult to differentiate between each grotesque piece of cannon fodder, making them less memorable as a result. This dire lack of individuality can also be located in the musical realm. While the grungy guitar that scores much of the gameplay succeeds in pumping one for brutal action, I can only really recite one track. This means that the remaining musical offerings throughout gameplay fail to make themselves distinct enough, adding a wafer-thin layer of monotony. One boss's battle themes being exempt. However, the music that plays during the cutscenes is always pitch perfect. During one of the game's final cutscenes, the music begins by introducing an operatic choir that mirrors the emotional heft of the scene. It then subtly shifts to a rock number, preparing players for the battle that is to come. This beautifully harmonizes the audio-visual aspect to create a truly holistic experience. Additionally, the synergy between gameplay and cutscenes is also handled with a complete mastery. For example, many of the moves that Dante can perform in them can also be performed by players dedicated enough to learn how to do so. This is how video game cutscenes should be done, as they work in tandem with the gameplay to construct a cohesive experience rather than feeling like a separate entity. When you Devil May Cry 3's combat system is incredibly deep. While equally entertaining yet technically inferior action titles such as the original God of War allow players to play with the facade of being a god among the immortals, Devil May Cry 3 truly makes you feel like a god. Or a demon. To achieve this same visual style, players must effectively combine breaks and combos, finger gymnastics, and animation cancelling. In constructing a more skill-based combat system, Devil May Cry rewards players who invest the most effort into learning the game's varying movesets by providing them with a visual feast that increases their overall level of satisfaction. However, the limitations placed upon the otherwise ingenious style system marginally limits a player's moveset. The style system provides players with certain style-specific defensive and offensive abilities, such as Swordmaster's Aerial Raid, my personal favourite. Unfortunately, these styles cannot be switched between on the fly. Consequently, the inability to combine styles will most assuredly frustrate many players. What most assuredly will not frustrate bloodthirsty action fans such as myself are the myriad weapons available to them. The vast majority of this weaponry can be attained by besting one of the game's many difficult bosses. This is another fantastic example of gameplay and narrative making the dream work through teamwork, as after each boss encounter, players will feel themselves getting stronger. Alas, although the wondrous array of weaponry granted to players indulge in variety, they often suffer in a similar vein to the styles. At any one time, players can only equip 2 ranged weapons and 2 melee weapons. As a result, players may slip into the routine of developing the 2 weapons they are most comfortable with, severely limiting the potential for creative, player-driven showdowns. Despite the aforementioned negatives, Devil May Cry 3 still takes a podium position in the winner's circle that is my favourite games of all time list, and it's likely that it will not be knocked off for an innumerable amount of years to come. The artistic design in this game may lack originality from time to time, but this is more than made up for with the cutscenes that serve to entertain players in between gameplay and act as absolutely genius invisible tutorials. Furthermore, the weapon offerings available in Devil May Cry 3 are almost too generous, and the style system adds that special something to the gameplay. However, the limitations placed upon both of these elements prevent them from reaching their full potential. Regardless, I truly believe that Devil May Cry 3 is a game that can only be made once. The heartwarming magic found at the core of this game is something that just cannot be replicated, and the game being as good as it is, I really don't mind. That's why I bestow a smoking, sick, stylish rating of 4.5 out of 5 for Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. It's not perfect, but it's the closest thing we're gonna get to it.
Wanna know the name? Devil May Cry.
Thank you ever so very much for taking the time to watch this brief review for Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. We've enjoyed making it for you, and we certainly hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you want to see more from me, you can follow me on Twitter @WillJJ and check out all the sites that I write for, including, of course, Rapid Reviews UK. Also, make sure to leave a like on our Facebook page and let us know what games you guys will want us to cover on future episodes. You can do this either on the Facebook page or in the comments section. All the relevant links will be put down in the description below. As always, have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and until next time, keep gaming, and we'll see you on the next episode of Rapid Retro Rewind.